Hi guys, Dave Norona here from Marlon Recreational Products, and today I'm going to take you through the all-new 2022 Marlon Xplore Pro 2 deck. Now, many of you have one of these decks on your truck, so a lot of this information is not going to be new, but we are going to show you some new stuff for 2022, the weather seal kit. But for those who are new and looking for a deck, this is definitely one of the decks that you should look at. I've been using Marlon products for now over 6 years, and they're certainly durable. They work really well, and just making it easy to get to and from the hill each time. Today on the deck that I use, we're going to be talking about a 7-foot deck, and then I have the 2-foot extension. Now, the great thing about an extension, because I run 175 and 165 sleds, is that on this 7-foot, the 65 you can run, it's right on the edge, but a lot of guys will go even shorter and run a 165, and to really be conscious of where your center shock hits, because if your center shock is hanging over the edge, a big frost heave in the highway can compress that and actually put too much pressure on your super clamp, and you can lose a sled off the back of your truck. I've seen it actually happen, and that is not covered under warranty. So either get an extension, or we'll talk about tying down the front of the snowmobile as well, in case something breaks free, that you have a safety line on your snowmobile. But that's why I run the extension, and what's great about it, it's a 2-foot extension, so it's 9 feet when it's down. It actually folds back onto the deck, so if you live in a city and you need to have it short in the city when you're driving around during the week, it just flips up easily onto the deck, and then when you're ready to go, it flips down, and there's 2 U-bolts that clip right in. Super easy. Okay guys, we're now under the deck, and one of the things that Marlon's done that's really brilliant is that these rear arms actually slide back and forth on the deck. So that means one deck fits all trucks. So when you buy it, you don't need to have a special deck for your pickup box size. And if you sell it every couple of years to get a new one, then you don't have to worry about what pickup truck that it goes into, because it's finely adjustable. And it's also got some great LED bullets under here, so it's super bright, especially on those dark mornings or at the end of the day when you're coming home. And one of the new things that we have for this year is they're called ramp hands, and they just slide into the ends here so that your ramp can slide out and rest here. They actually only work with guys that are using just the deck itself without the extension. We're working on a fix for guys who have an extension like me. But all you do is pull your ramp out, rest it here, and then one person, you can just move it up to the rung where it sits in, and at the end of the day, you same thing, move it down to here, and it slides in. They just give you a little bit of a hand, and then all you do is slide them off, and they just sit inside your truck, ready for you. So super cool thing, and that is retrofittable to all of our Marlon decks in previous model years, and they're called ramp hands. Well, as you can see, we've got Santa in the background here, but we're now going to just talk a little bit about the ramp. So it's a 10-foot ramp. You can actually get a 12-foot ramp in the 8-foot deck, but it won't fit in a 7-foot. So I have the 10-foot ramp, and you can see it's more than shallow enough that it isn't very steep. Of course, it's going to depend really on how lifted your truck is. But it's a great ramp that telescopes together, and also remember, really important is to plug in that end so you don't get the ramp shifting into itself when you're riding it up. It's covered with super wide glides, so you get the extra steering capability and also great grip when you're walking up. And it's also got rung protectors in the middle here. Now, these are for 2 things. They give your traction as you go up, and it's also another place to walk up the ramp. And as you can see, it's super easy for me to walk up, even if it's covered in snow. It makes it really safe. Well, we're up top of the deck here, and one of the things that's also great about the Marlon deck is you can house one sled in the middle, or of course pull out the slides that have UHMW, so they slide out really well, and you can have 2 snowmobiles on top. One of the things that I do that's sort of a pro tip is when you pull the slides out, they're really made for like a 42 wide sled, and most of us do not ride that width of a sled anymore, especially with a 34 front end on the new Ski-Doo. So what I did is I actually pull them out, put my 2 sleds up there, and then I just pull it out enough where I know, and I re-drill. So I just have it just wide enough, and actually it makes it way nicer driving around the city or through towns or at the gas station, because your deck is narrower, or just as narrow as it needs to be, and not extra wide. And of course you have those original holes there if you're carrying 2 super wide snowcross sleds. Now up top it's covered with super glides, and that gives you excellent grip, just like the ramp. So when you're walking around, even when it's snowy, you're not going to slip here, and that's really important when you're up on your deck. And they also come with 2 super clamps for the front. And you can see here, it's nicely tied down. I actually go to a hardware store and get 4 locks the same, because of course the super clamps all can be locked. So I match the same 4 locks, and I can lock 2 sleds at the front and also at the back when we talk about the rear super clamps. Now another great thing that we actually did last year is we've improved the headache rack. So we've actually dropped it down the middle, because a lot of the new trucks have a rear mounted camera for your rear view mirror. So now it drops down, and of course it's still got the same 4 bullet LEDs. So again, it's super bright when you're up here working around either early in the morning or late at night. And it's got a couple of tie down points here. And just another pro tip, what I do, especially when you're traveling far, I also, where I ride a lot is a really steep, gnarly logging road. And so I always back it up with a tie down and go to the center of the deck. And that way my sled can't shift and fall out of the rear super clamp. So having that tie down is great for highway use, and also when you're going up really gnarly logging roads. And again, one of the things I see that people do over and over is they put a long track snowmobile on a really short deck, and they don't realize that where that center shock compresses is that's where you can put a huge amount of force on the super clamp upwards, and it was never designed to have that force through it. And I've seen 2 people lose their snowmobiles on there. I know guys will tell you that they've been doing it that way for years. I'm just telling you can do it whatever way you want, but I'm telling you that it's a good thing just to back it up in case that ever does happen. Having a strap that goes around the back isn't going to help you, because when this lifts up, it's just going to swing down and come off the back. It'll rip that strap right off. So we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get into the rear super clamp. Well, now we're at the rear of the snowmobile, and we've got the rear super clamp here. And again, this keeps everything tied together and tied down properly. One tip that I'll give you is that what I do is I actually go get some elastic cord and use a carabiner and just clip it to the snowmobile. And that way, if you're running really rough road, if this ever slips off, you're not going to lose it. It's because you've got a safety there. And again, you can use those locks instead of the key for the super clamp right down here at the back, and it just keys in or locks in and keeps your sled secure on your deck. Now, one other thing that's super cool is the sides of these decks are loaded with super track. Now this means that you can tie down snow bikes or any other loads that you need. If you're working construction during the week, you can use these tie downs to tie down your load. And then of course it's helping you on the weekends get to the hill. And these can be moved anywhere along the super clamp. They just clip in, and they're good to go. So another super cool feature. All right guys, we're back under the truck because one of the things that's new for 2022 is the Weather Seal Kit. Now, we've always wanted to make this 100% waterproof, and I personally think they have, although we don't sort of say that it's 100% waterproof. This seals the deck right to your truck. Now, this kit is retrofittable, but these side pieces actually fit under where the legs go on. So you actually, the best is to remove your deck to put them on. So it's not a quick job of just sliding them into place. But as you can see, it works all the way along the back. When I close the back tailgate, you can see that seal kit goes right along the top of my tailgate and right down along the side here, all the way to the front. On the new headache rack, we've extruded a piece down here that this rubber seal slides into. So this prevents any moisture from sitting in there. As you can see, it'll just roll off into the front of your box. Now, one issue is if you do retrofit this kit to an older deck, you won't have this extruded piece on your headache rack. So you'll have to mock up something for this instead. Or if you have an older rack and you've been looking at getting a new headache rack, you can do that with the new 2022 headache rack, and it will come with that extruded piece that's already in place, and then you can slide your rubber seal kit right in there. So this really ties in the whole deck together, and as you can see, they've done an amazing job making it easier to load your sleds and get them to the hill and back every time. Of course, you can check them out at Marlon Recreational Products, and we'll see you out in the POW.